Hi, everyone. It's great to see you again. And to our newest friends, welcome. I'm so happy you're here today with us and CFA Society Emirates. My name is Sarah Yao Schritzman, CFA. I'm a managing partner of Providence Heights Capital Management, a hedge fund investing across the capital structure based in Chicago. I'm a co-founder and president of Collaborative WIM. Since 2019, I've served on the board of CFA Society Indianapolis and as a CFA Institute Research Challenge Judge. In our third year of Collaborative WIM, it is my joy and privilege to share with you a bit about our story, about what happens when women support one another. In 2020, CFA Society leaders around the US created Collaborative WIM with our shared mission in mind, to further inclusion and diversity and the advancement and development of female leaders of all backgrounds. Today, Collaborative WIM is a global alliance of more than 90 CFA societies, FPA chapters, and industry groups across the US, Canada, Caribbean, EMEA, and Latin America. From the very early days of our collaboration, we've benefited from the insights and guidance of many friends and mentors. We are so grateful to these leaders around the world who have dedicated their talents, time, and endless passion to our shared vision. And especially to our sponsors and allies who enable our work together. Today, we're excited for a timely, interactive workshop with Megan Walls on navigating your career through uncertainty and the practical action steps to help you achieve your goals. Now, I'm delighted to introduce my dear friend and CWIM co-founder, Ariel Batoni, for a few words.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm very excited for today, and I just wanted to send out a warm welcome to everybody, familiar names, and also new people who are joining us for the first time. So welcome, you're in for a treat. Before we begin our program, we'd like to say a big thank you to CFA Emirates, who is our host for the program today. And so with us is Lama Dargan, who will say a few words from the host society.
Thank you, Ariel. Hello and welcome, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. On behalf of CFA Society Emirates, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this wonderful event. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. My name is Lama Dargam. I'm a board member and the program chair at CFA Society Emirates. I'm also on the investor relations and capital raising team with Keelvest Capital Partners. And it is an honor for us to collaborate with CWIM and co-host this event. We're excited about future opportunities to work together. We all know that managing our careers can be challenging, especially during uncertain times like these. And as we navigate through the era of layoffs, it is essential to equip ourselves with the necessary skills and knowledge to succeed. We're delighted to have Megan as our guest speaker today, and we're looking forward to gaining insights into navigating our careers, especially through challenging times. Once again, thank you for joining us today. We hope you find this event informative and valuable. And without further ado, I would like to hand it over back to Ariel to kickstart the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Lama. And we couldn't be doing these programs without your support. So we really do appreciate all of the effort and time that your society has contributed to hosting the event today. So I
Happy to do so.
Yes, thank you so much. So I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker today, who you know is Megan Walls. She is an executive and career coach. So a little bit of background on Megan is she is a certified executive and career coach, author, and also noted speaker. She works with high achieving professionals and teams to unlock their full potential, develop leadership skills, and boost confidence to overcome obstacles and thrive in their organizations and their careers. What sets Megan apart from other career coaches is that she has developed a proprietary inside-out coaching approach, which she uses as her foundation with every client. The inside refers to helping clients identify areas of strength, areas to improve, and obstacles to overcome. The out refers to helping clients set realistic goals and create action plans to achieve their goals. During this process, Megan provides guidance, insights, and leadership tools and serves as an accountability partner to accelerate a client's career success while staying true to themselves. Prior to coaching, Megan enjoyed a highly successful 20-year career as an institutional salesperson in the municipal bond industry at Hutchinson Shockey Early & Company. I was also a fellow muni bond person myself. So that rings true with me, Megan. And she was the firm's first female partner. She holds a BA in economics from DePaul University, received her coach training from the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, and is a member of the International Coaching Federation. So we are all super excited to have you here today. And as Lama said, to learn your insights. Before I turn it over, just a couple of housekeeping items. So I know that we're very comfortable and used to being on Zoom by this point. So if you haven't already, if I could ask everyone to open up the chat. So we are going to be using that during the main room when we're in the group together. And then I'm also going to be sharing today's handout. So bear with me a few moments and I will upload that there so you can all access the handout. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Megan. So really excited to hear what you have in store for us today.
Well, thank you so much, Ariel, Sarah, and Lama, and all of you that are here today. I'm really excited to talk to you about one of my favorite topics, right? Managing your career. And so let me share my PowerPoint and get us going here. One of the reasons, welcome to Don't Take It Personally, Take Action, managing your career in the era of layoffs. So this is one of my passionate topics because, well, yes, I did not manage my career, right? I learned the hard way. And, if you'd like to learn more about my difficult career transition by choice, it's on my website. You're free to read that. So we don't want to take too much time on that. I want to be here for you and share what I've learned on my journey and working with other clients. So I'd love to start off by hearing from all of you, what brought you here today and what you're hoping to get out of today's presentation. So if you could type that in the chat, and Ariel, you could help read those for me, that'd be great. So love to hear what brought you here and what you're hoping to get out of today. Anybody? Let's see. Feel free to.
While we're waiting, I'll share that I'm here because I want to learn other perspectives on this topic, because I know it's something that we can all relate to and resonate with. But I'm curious how others feel it. Oh, they're starting to come in. We've got networking tips, fear of layoffs. A good one.
How about one more? Well, no worries. I'm just going to power on through. Thank you. So other perspectives, networking tips, and that's what we're going to do today. So this year, we've heard a number of companies laying off employees, instilling hiring freezes and restructuring, right? And facing the possibility of losing your job is scary. It's nerve-wracking, especially since it's unpredictable, right? It's completely out of our control. And yet I see this environment is really an opportunity, a great opportunity for all of us to focus on what we can control. And what we can control is ourselves and our careers. So it's a great opportunity to take time to manage our careers so that we're ready, prepared, and able to intentionally respond versus react to any unexpected situation affecting our employment. So in moving on here, let me just advance. Here's why I think it's really important to manage your career, and we're going to talk about this today. First and foremost, as I just mentioned, let's focus on what we can control, right? We can control our career. The reality is we can't control the external world. We can't control the industry, the markets, our company's decision, the political situation within our companies, our peers, our bosses. So let's stay focused on what we can control. Really important to keep that, make that mind shift. And when we stay focused on ourselves and our managing our careers and what we want, we're going to be able to be more intentional when setting career goals, taking the actions, and making decisions for our career in alignment for us. So we'll be better able to discern which personal development programs to go after, which career path or advancement to go next. And by being intentional, by sitting in the driver's seat of our careers, we'll feel motivated, we'll feel empowered, we'll feel confident. And that's what's actually going to bring meaning, purpose, and satisfaction in our lives, personally and professionally. And so the opportunity here is to be proactive versus reactive. And think about it. If we're not proactive, you might just miss out on a great job opportunity that unexpectedly crosses your desk. I've worked with clients that, haven't really managed their career or updated their resume in over, 5 to 7 years. And so when an opportunity passes, they really kind of miss that opportunity. Or maybe you might make a career decision that's not in alignment with your career goals. I'm wondering how many of us have made a career change for someone else or something else. I know I'm guilty of it. And finally, worst case, if we face a job loss by not being prepared, being proactive, we may be left at a disadvantage, and possibly it'll take us longer to get back on our feet. So again, be proactive versus reactive. Okay, so I'm going to pose 2 questions that I'd like you to answer. Put your answer in the chat box. First question: how many of you actively manage your career and feel like you're staying on top of it? Just say me in the chat box. How we doing? Okay, so I see a couple people so. All right, so when it comes, here's question number 2. When it comes to managing your career, what would you say is the number one challenge you face for doing this? What's the number one challenge you face managing your career? Type in the chat box. Knowing what you actually want, okay? Sure. And that's perfectly normal, not always knowing exactly what you want. That's definitely lack of clarity of paths, yes. Getting back from the employers, okay. Lack of knowledge on how to manage a career, okay. Those are all great answers, and I'm hoping to help share some insights today. So I want to tell you a story about a client I worked with. And for purposes of today, her name is Mary. Mary was downsized after working with a company for 27 years. It was at a large insurance company, and she was in the investment department, and she was the sole corporate counsel, and she specialized in derivatives, asset management, and securities. And at 57 years old, she was making a great salary, had great benefits, always had stellar performance reviews, and had planned to carry out, work 5 to 7 more years until she wanted to retire. Well, unexpectedly, her company went through a reorganization, and Mary was downsized. She was given a package, and she was told she had 3 months till her last day. Now, it wasn't about her. It was a major company reorganization. Well, let me tell you, this was a huge aha for Mary, because this caught her completely off guard. She was totally unprepared, and that's when the panic set in. She had no idea where to start. She hadn't looked for a job in 27 years, and she couldn't remember the last time she'd updated her resume on LinkedIn. And that's when we met. That's when we met. So over the next hour, I'm going to lead you through what I did with Mary to help her get out of the panic mode, stop taking the layoff personally. And of course she took it personally, right? She had been a loyal, dedicated employee for 27 years. That's a lot of years to give one company. And we're going to talk about the actions Mary took to get her career back on path and feel confident once again. At our first coaching session, I told Mary that the most important thing for her to do right now was to take a deep breath, right? Inhale, exhale, hit the pause button, and spend some time reflecting on herself and her career. Really important to spend time, doing introspection to figure out, okay, Mary needed to figure out who she was now, where she had come, what she wanted for her career moving forward, and what she wanted for her life. And so I call this doing the inner work, going within and really reflecting on all of these inner pieces, your successes about you. And this helps raise self-awareness, right? So you get real clear on who you are. And that brings clarity for yourself and clarity for what your options are and what's next. So today, we're going to look at two of the components that I work with clients on to do this inner work. And these two components are career inventory and values assessment. So we'll look at these today, and hopefully you can start thinking about how to use these in managing your career. And then ultimately, we'll look at these two and see how working with the inner work can then help us take action, and take action specifically networking. So we're going to move on. So career inventory. In working with clients, the first step, the most important step I feel, and I've been through this personally when I left the bond business, is to take a career inventory, right? Let's assess our career. And what this really means is making a list, a concrete, written out list of job experiences, right? What are all the job experiences you've had? Use your resume to help you do that. Then you want to list out all the education you've had, the trainings, certification, degrees, like lay it out, see where you've come. Next, identify your strengths and abilities, right? These are the innate attributes that come to you just naturally, instinctually, because you want to use these in thinking about what's next. You also want to list out successes, accomplishments, right? Things that make you proud. List your professional skills. What have you learned along the way? Identify your personal values. right? What's important to you? List your network and connections, right? Make a list of those contacts. Those are very important and something that you want to be able to connect with as you're managing your career and or navigating a job search. Think about what motivates you, right? What gets you out of bed? Why do you do what you do? And finally, think about your attitude. Is it a growth mindset, like everything's an opportunity, or is it limiting, holding you back, right? So by taking the time to list this out, and I call this list your economic value, which is what the Urban Dictionary kind of refers to it as. It's really talks about your economic value. Oops, sorry about that. And so it's your valuable assets. It's your career capital. And by doing this inner work, you get clarity. Clarity on who you are. What are you good at? What value do you bring? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? And in doing this, this gives you clarity on options for your career. Options for your career. Because it all starts with knowing who you are. And knowing who you are can then help you start thinking about your paths. So I like to think of these are the puzzle pieces. Doing this also helps you think about maybe areas that you need to add to. Maybe there's skills that you want to add to, or other certifications or trainings that you want to add to. So it really helps. It's a good starting point. And then once you have a career inventory, so in starting to list this out, clients tell me this is the heavy lifting, because when you get caught up in the day-to-day, it's hard to sit down, hit the pause button, and really list out all of your economic value, right? Your career inventory. So in my coaching, I've created concrete tools that help you really bring to the surface concretely this inventory. And so in doing this, the next step I have clients do in in listing out their career inventory is identifying their personal values. Values really are key to helping you discern about career paths, managing your career, making a career pivot. And so what I'd like to do now is I'm going to have you take my values assessment, which is a list of values. And I believe Ariel put it in the chat for you to access. Does everyone see it? If not, you can kind of use this, my list here. So what I'd like to do is you're going to do an exercise, the values assessment exercise. And what I'd like you to do is take a few minutes. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. I'd like you to circle, identify your top 5 values. And these are values most important to you right now, not anyone else, whether you're living them fully or not. And if I'm lacking a value, please go ahead and list it out. Please list it out. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes right now. And yeah, go ahead and identify your values. All right, we have about 10 more seconds. Oh, thanks guys for sharing yours. Okay, great. So curious, has anyone ever taken a values assessment before? Just type your message in the chat. Great. Okay, so some of you have, some of you haven't. And how did you find this exercise? Easy, hard? Okay, great. So somewhat hard, yeah. So thanks for sharing. It takes time to think, right? I have to say, what makes it hard, at least I know that, you know, we have so many thoughts, values in our mind, and yet having to really concretely identify them makes it hard. And so I know the first time I did it, it took me like 2 weeks to really pinpoint. So it does take time to reflect, right? This is the heavy lifting. And so thank you for sharing. So now what I'd like you to do is we're going to put you all in some, we're going to put you in some breakout session. We're going to put you in a breakout session. There'll be, you know, I think 5 or 6 of you. And I'd like you to you'll have 15 minutes. And I'd like you to each take, you know, 2 to 3 minutes and share with your group your 3 top values. Maybe give them a little, you know, a little reasoning behind that. And then what did you learn about yourself from this exercise? And then we're going to come back and I want to hear kind of your ahas or your comments and insights. So you'll be being broken out into groups momentarily. And again, share your top values and what did you learn about yourself from the exercise?
Thank you, Megan.
Okay, well, everybody's coming back. Welcome back. Okay, I think we're waiting for a few more people to come back. Welcome back, everybody. So as we're getting everybody back in, I'd love to have you share your thoughts or findings from your breakout sessions. If you could just share that with us in the chat room, just, you know, love to know how your breakout sessions were, what came up, your ahas that came up. So please share. So please share in the chat, you know, your thoughts or what came up for you in the breakout. It's always great to share. Don't be shy. Okay, reminder to, in our group, career ambition, how to gain visibility, how to define achievement, great, freedom, great. Great. So it really gave you time to reflect, developing skills, have a separate values list for life and career. Sure, absolutely. You know, and really important to take the time to do that. Wow, develop skills, have separate values, how people view the same value differently. Yeah, great point, Hazel. Right. Yeah. Great. Okay, thank you. So I hope that was helpful. And again, in thinking about your values and trying to pinpoint it, you know, I'd say keep it handy. It is handy, and we'll go through some of the reasons why in a second. However, I want you to now I want you to type in the chat, how do you think knowing your values can help you manage your career? So let's see if you could type some answers. How can knowing your values help you manage your career? Please type it in the chat. Incentive to move. Great. Incentive to move. Boy, I'd love to hear more about that. What else? Who else? How can knowing your values prioritize things in terms of what's most important? Yes. Not waste time chasing something. Oh, we're not. Wow, great point. Oh, these are all great. Who else? Yeah, it's easy to chase something that we're not, for sure. I've done that. Anybody else? Learn to say no. Wow, great. Yes. All right, how about one? Take conscious career decisions that are in line with values, not just right, Lama. It helps us keep from going through the motions. All right, well, let me share with you how values, I believe, can really help us manage our career. So let's take a look. I call values really our inner GPS system, right? They really are our guiding principles that really help us set our priorities for career and life. They also help us really keep us on path. So let's take a look at, first and foremost, values represent who we are, right? The core essence of us, right? What's important to us. And when we think about using our values for our careers and our lives, it's really finding alignment for what's important within us to what's important where we work, right? We want to work with a company in alignment with our values. Companies have values. And so when we're in alignment with our values and say a company or our careers, our career path, that's what gets us to higher levels of productivity, engagement, happiness, purpose, and satisfaction. 2, whether we know it or not, we sift all our choices through our values, right? Our values are the basis for every decision, every action. And we have all the perfect answers inside of us, right? And it's our inner GPS that really helps us choose those actions, make those decisions in alignment for us. And so I like you to think about a time possibly you made a decision, personally or professionally. You made a decision and you felt great, in the flow, energized, never looked back. Well, likely you were completely in alignment with your values, right? Now think about a time you made a decision and after you made a decision, ooh, you got some internal warning signals like regret. Like, why did I do that? Remorse, gee, I don't know. Or maybe you had physical sensations. You had stomach issues, can't sleep. Or maybe you had more of mental or emotional, I should say, anger, frustration, bitterness, resentment, right? These are our internal warning signals saying, hey, hit the pause button, pull out your values. You're out of alignment, pull out your values and make a new choice. So it really helps us stay in alignment, gives us clarity. Another thing, our values are unique to each and every one of us. As someone said in the chat, hey, notice there's some similar values and we have different definitions. So keep in mind when you have an important decision to make and you want to get other people's input, know that they're going to give you answers that are in perfect alignment with their values. So keep in mind, you have values unique to you and defined by you. And so it's okay to get advice, yet, sift it through your values ultimately. Next thing, values change over time. As you continue to grow and change, so too have your values. They're not static. So maybe what was important to you 5 years ago is different now. And so I urge you to keep your values close at hand and tweak them every so often, because as you change, so too do your values. Next point, there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. Just know that when you know and live your values, you come from a place of authenticity, of confidence, of really feeling grounded. And you'll always make the right decision for you, which is why I call this our inner GPS system. And I hope that you continue to utilize this personally and professionally, because it's really been a huge importance exercise for me and all my clients. So now let's go back to our client, my client, Mary. So when Mary and I first met, she was unsure about continuing to practice corporate law or actually make a career change into something like nonprofit. And it was through the values assessment, as we were listing out her career inventory, that gave her clarity on continuing to practice corporate law. So it was the values assessment that helped her, and doing this career inventory that helped her really get clear on herself and what she wanted. And so I urge you, again, if you have important decisions to make and you're not sure, identify and reflect on your values, because that will help guide and direct you. So I'm going to end this segment with a really favorite quote of mine. It's not hard to make a decision when you know what your values are, from Roy Disney. Any other questions or comments before we move on? Okay, so I want to share with you a quick hack. Another key component of completing your career inventory is identifying your unique strengths. And I highly recommend taking the 30-minute online strengths assessment, Clifton Strengths Assessment. This is by Gallup. Maybe many of you have heard it. And this is an online assessment that identifies either your top 5 strengths or all 34. And when you complete the assessment, you get the actual strengths like achiever, strategic, and descriptions. And these are very helpful as you're compiling your career inventory. So I highly recommend that as another another career hack for you. All right, so moving along. So having spent time reflecting on yourself and your career, compiling your career inventory, and knowing your values, you get clarity on who you are and hopefully the options you want for your career. And now it's time to take action, because this clarity gives you action. So here are some actions I recommend. With the career inventory, great time to update your resume and LinkedIn. You've got this concrete information about yourself, great opportunity to update those. It's also a great opportunity to make sure that you update or craft a personal brand statement, right? This is that statement that's foundational for career management and a job search that really talks about the tangible value you bring and what sets you apart. And if you'd like to learn more about personal branding, you can go to my website, because that's something I really spend time with clients with. So those are some actions you can take on your own. The other action I highly recommend you do now is network. with your clarity and where you have ideas of where you want to go in your path, it's time to network. So curious, when you hear the word networking, what emotions come up for you? Please type it in the chat box. When you hear the word networking, what emotions come up for you? Well, I see a range of emotions of, oh, this is happy place, meeting new people, fun, hard to access. It's work. Of course, it's all perfectly normal responses. And we're going to look at why networking, anxious. Yes, right. Of course. And networking is one of those nebulous terms, how do you do it? Why is it important? And oh, it's so uncomfortable, or maybe not uncomfortable for people. So what is networking? So networking is creating and maintaining professional relationships and connections, right? It's more than a one and done meeting. It's about nurturing these relationships, building trust and credibility with your contacts. And networking is a two-way street. And it's a two-way street in that both parties look for ways to help each other out. It might be sharing information. It might be sharing referrals. It might be getting information about an industry, organization. It might be telling somebody about a job opportunity that is in job search. So it's about giving and getting. And it's really important when you think about networking to operate with a mindset of, what can I do for you versus what can I get out of it for me? Because that's not going to go far. It's a two-way street. And I just recently heard a person say to me, I don't like the word networking, and I've renamed it. I've renamed it to community building. Community building. It's a better term, right? It is building your community. It's looking for ways to help each other out. Okay, so I'm curious, again, type in the chat box or raise your hand, or I'd say type in the chat box. How many of you have gotten a job or advanced in your career with the help of someone in your network? Advanced in your career or gotten a job with the help of someone in your network? Okay. Yes. Okay. I have to say, I've gotten jobs through networking. Okay. So there's a number of you that said yes. Okay. So our network wants to help us. And once you're clear and articulate with taking your career inventory and moving forward and taking action, it's time to ask for help. And here's why networking is important. I love these two quotes. When you know where you want to go, and make sure the right people know, because they can help you. And instead of a better pair of glasses, your network will give you a better eyes, right? So when you're clear, networking, talk to your contacts, ask them for help. Because if the tables were turned, you want to help others as well, right? It's a two-way street. So let's look at some reasons why you want to network. In the article, 73 plus reasons why surprising networking statistics to boost your career, 85% of positions are filled through networking. And I'm also going to tell you that 80% of positions are not always publicized, especially the higher up you go. 2, LinkedIn's research confirms most jobs are found through personal connections. And that's because people hire people. People don't hire pieces of paper. People hire people. And finally, 35% of LinkedIn users got job offers from casual conversations, right? So it is all about community building, conversation, two-way street. Because at the end of the day, and the higher up you go, those jobs might not be publicized. And remember, people hire people. So here's some tips on networking. Number one, update your LinkedIn profile. Keep it current. LinkedIn research has found that 87% of recruiters regularly use LinkedIn. I have a number of HR connections, and they have been using LinkedIn a lot, especially since COVID. So you want to keep your LinkedIn profile updated. You also want to spend time making sure that your personal brand is expressed on it, right? Again, the true representation of who you are as a professional and how you want to be known. You want to also make sure that you've joined groups, associations. A lot of people have found jobs, obviously through their connections, also through their alumni groups. Make sure to join your alumni groups. Those are very, very powerful. Number two, assess your network. It's bigger than you think. I've had a number of clients tell me, well, I've been in this position for so many years. I really don't know that many people. I'm here to say, don't discount family, friends, and neighbors. They may not be swimming in your pond. However, they know people. Consider your past colleagues, bosses, past clients. They know people. And when you can tell them what you're looking for, you never know. I also say tap the shoulders of your professional service providers, your lawyers, your doctors, right? In fact, your religious organizations. I know a woman that found her job through her church choir. I know another woman that got a job through her hairdresser. Everything is an opportunity, and your network is bigger than you think. Finally, schedule informational interviews. This is the hidden job market. Richard Bowles, the author of What Color's Your Parachute, defines it as talking with people who actually do the work you think you might like to do. In effect, you're mentally trying it on. Here's my acronym for informational interviews, AIR. When you're meeting with someone at an informational interview, get advice. Ask them for advice. Gee, I'd like to know how you got into this company, or how you progressed. What information do I need to know? What insights, what certifications, what paths, what would you recommend? And then finally, recommendations. What do you recommend for me? What referrals? Who else can I talk to? Informational interviews are huge. And here's a statistic that proves it. 1 out of 200 resumes, just blindly sending resumes and applying online results in a job offer. 1 out of 12 informational interviews result in a job offer. And you're not asking for a job in an informational interview. So remember that. Now, let's talk a little bit about internal networking. Like we've just talked about external, here's internal. It's just as important to network internally. And many of you have likely done this, identify 1 or 2 people in your company that you can reach out to and have as a mentor, have as a sponsor, help you become more visible, help you get known in the company. Possibly you might do some cross-training, get involved in an initiative, provide value somehow within the organization. And this will get you noticed and greater chances of promotion. Oh, and don't forget to, again, offer to help any of your mentors or those you're working with. So it's real. Networking is, I've just, again, touched on networking lightly. Just know that staying connected to your network, internal and external, building goodwill, looking for ways to help them is really a way to continue to expand your network, right? Build your community. and make the effort. I know it's hard. And there are, when you push through the anxiety and fear and see the results, it really does make a difference. And I love this quote by Marsha Ballinger, PhD, and Nathan Perez of the 20-minute networking meeting. Networking is the lifeblood of your job search. And I'd say managing your career. So now I want to go back to Mary. So let's go back to Mary. Mary, the last 2 weeks of work, she and her boss had a call with the principal of an outside counsel firm that Mary had partnered with for the years. And they wanted to let them know that Mary's last day and that the firm they would be leaning on the firm until Mary's replacements were hired. So they were, letting them know that Mary's, 2 weeks were coming up. And here's the power of where networking comes in. The outside counsel was so sorry to see Mary go because because of her legal expertise, her professionalism, and the great relationship they had built together. The outside counsel proposed this. I've got an idea. I hire Mary. Mary will continue to do this work with your company, and we'll all get to work together. This is a win-win-win. And do you know that Mary had a written job offer on her desk 2 hours later? She signed it and started 2 weeks, no job gap. She couldn't believe her luck, the power of networking, building trusted relationships. Pretty amazing, huh? So let's summarize Mary's journey from the start. So after losing her job, she hit the pause button and spent time reflecting. She took a career inventory and a values assessment, right? Did the inner work. This gave her clarity on herself and her path to continue to practice corporate law. And then it was a matter of finding a new position. And Mary took action. She networked. And it was through her network that led her to the unexpected job opportunity in perfect alignment for her. And I'm here to say, in working with clients, clarity, this happens over and over again. When a client gets clear, opportunities show up and it's effortless. And so it really is humbling and inspiring when I see this. And it all starts with knowing who you are and what you're good at and what you want to do more of and less of. So as we're coming to an end, I'd really like to have you type in the chat, how will you manage your career differently now? Love to hear from several of you. Please share. Anyone? Love to hear from you. How will you manage your career differently? All right, let me throw in another. Increase informational networking. Great. Thanks, Andrea. How about question 2? What's the one key takeaway or learning from today? Like to find new effective channels to network. Great. Anybody else? Consciously network, even in social circles. Yes. Keep values in mind when searching for a job. Great. Yes. Great. Super. So, after hearing Mary's story, I do hope you see the importance of, being actively managing and intentionally managing your career. And I hope you also have an idea of how I work with clients to help them manage their careers and take control of the direction of their lives. And if you'd like to talk with me about your situation or any of this, because I really, again, just touched on the surface, please reach out to me and let's have a conversation. And here's my contact information. Send me an email. I'd love to chat with you and see how I can help. And if you're interested, I do send a monthly newsletter each month about professional development, coaching tips. If you'd love to get that, please shoot me an email. Love to add you to my list. So thank you all so much. And now we're going to move on to Q&A. I'd like to save the next 10 minutes for answering any of your questions around career. So please share. I'm going to open up my chat box and see what you, or are there questions from earlier?
I've got a few I grabbed from earlier, but what we can do is you can ask your questions now. If you can either put them in the chat box and I will take a look there, or you can happily, if you hit the raise the hand function on Zoom, I'll keep an eye and we can.
I'm going to stop sharing, I think.
Yeah, you can take the share down too.
Share that way.
Thank you, Megan. This was really great, really
I feel I'd love to keep going. I mean, I feel like I've scratched the surface. So yeah, happy to answer any questions about career or anything.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some that came a little earlier in the session. So this one I found very interesting. It is asking you your thoughts about assessing changing jobs when it potentially involves taking on a more junior role. So if you're going towards your area of interest and you're doing the values assessment, what happens if, you know, this new role is more junior than what you're currently doing? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think first and foremost, after you've done your career inventory and really assessed, is this, you know, if this is the right direction for you, and if it's a little bit of a pivot and you do have to take a lesser job, I think it's important to, as you're interviewing for the position, clarify, hey, you know, I'm really interested in learning, you know, this particular function. I'm willing to, you know, take a junior role to learn. And I'd love to know what the career progression is for this and how my experience might actually help ramp me up to advance more quickly. So I think it's really getting clear on the reason I'm making this career pivot is I want to get into this function. And then my intention is to move up as quickly. You know, what is the career progression for this and how might my experience help me advance more quickly?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's important, right? Communication and expectations.
Exactly. Like you've got to ask for what you want because they can't read your mind.
Right. So here's another one. This one also came earlier in the program, asking what do you believe are the most important items for headhunters and HR departments? I mean, I know you mentioned the LinkedIn profile, which I took note of. And then just a follow on to that question, if you want to answer it all at once, is it working experience or technical skills? Like where should people focus in order to get the attention of headhunters and
okay.
HR?
I'm so glad somebody brought this up. So I just want to clarify, when you're looking for a job, let's say you're looking for a job or making a career change, there's a number of ways, right? Recruiters, maybe, you know, network, applying blindly, you know, going and utilizing your associations and alum and, you know, of course, what else? So those are your main ones. I would not spend too much time with recruiters. And here's why. Recruiters are only as good as the job they're looking for on their desk. So if they're hired by the company and they have a job description that they're looking to hire. So if I'm looking for a job, I'm going to identify all the recruiters in my swim lane and I'm going to reach out and I'm going to let them know I'm looking and send them my resume. And I might keep in touch. However, I am not going to put all my eggs in that basket. I'm going to spend most time networking on my own because networking is going to get you in the back door. Recruiters are only as good as the job on their desk. So keep that in mind. HR people, you know, again, I think it's key to look at the job descriptions and highlight, showcase what it is they're looking for, and make sure to show up prepped, exude confidence, exude enthusiasm in the job, and be authentic. Like, so when it comes to hiring, and there's two candidates with the same resume qualifications, what's going to set you apart from the hiring manager is showing up confident, right? A calm confidence, being enthusiastic about the job, working for that firm, being positive energy, exuding positivity, and then being authentic. Those inner resources, right? That's part of that inner GPS, is what's going to set you apart. So again, just identify the recruiters and let them know you're looking. I would not rest your laurels on those, though. And I've partnered with a recruiter for 5 years, and she would tell you the same thing. That's where I learned it from. I hope that answers that question.
Yes, no, I think it's good. And there's actually an interesting follow-on because of, and specifically with the mention of coming in confidently. So this question I think is a great follow-on, is how do you tell people how to deal with or handle imposter syndrome?
Oh, yes. Okay. So and that's something, we all deal with, right? And many of my clients. So by taking a career inventory and reminding yourself of your strengths, your successes, your accomplishments, that's one way. Another way is to coach around your mindset. You know, what are those limiting beliefs you're having that are really causing you to experience imposter syndrome? What are the triggers? So it's, again, that introspection, what's going on for you? And this is something I coach people on, because often the people outside of them are constantly praising them. You're so great, you do this. And it's about knowing and believing in yourself and abilities and really owning it, right? And imposter syndrome can get in our way. So it's working through, it's the inner work. It's the listing the career inventory. It's what's our mindset? What are our triggers? So that's, again, I'm touching briefly on it. However, those are some of the things I do when working with someone with imposter syndrome.
All helpful tips. This question, I think, pertains to the beginning part of the event where we talked about managing your career. So the question is, as it relates to navigating office politics. So the example is, if there is a coworker, so let's say that, you know, I'm working at a job and there is a coworker who is an older female coworker. And naturally, I would think that she, you know, would take me under her wing, you know, feel an affinity, but in reality, I'm feeling the opposite. I'm feeling that I'm not being treated the same by this coworker, and I'm feeling that there's pushback rather than the welcoming environment. How can I manage my career in that situation?
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing. And that really is so tough, because I'm a big proponent. Women should help women, right? And so it makes it really hard. So in that case, I would, one, go to my values, first of all. And, you know, maybe one of your values is integrity or respect or professionalism. And then I might craft a difficult conversation. I'd think about having a difficult conversation with her and being honest and real about, you know, an I message of, you know, hey, do you have a few minutes? The story I'm telling myself, I'm sensing from this last meeting that possibly you don't want to support me in my career. Again, this is a story I'm telling myself, and I'm feeling, you know, disappointed and sad. And I wanted to check with you to find out if this is just all in my mind, or maybe is there something that I've done or getting in the way, because I really respect and appreciate you and want to learn from you. And I want us to get together and get along. So something like that, you know, and just, you know, my core value is integrity and professionalism. And, you know, I want to be honest with and in integrity with you, so it's kind of coming from this I message. And I've got a 4-step difficult conversation that I walk people through because it's uncomfortable. And yet having a conversation like that creates so much respect. And you got to kind of let go of the outcome because you don't know how they're going to respond or react. It's more of, you've got to speak up for yourself. And it's a hard muscle for all of us who don't feel comfortable. And yet, we got to do it.
Yeah.
Great question. And it's too bad that it happens. Yeah. Yeah.
With time, just for one more question that I will sneak in here, similar basis in terms of relationships and the working in the workplace is, what are your thoughts on dealing with a boss who does not give you credit and either takes it for themselves or it just doesn't get connected to the person responsible for doing the work?
Oh, that's so hard. Oh, that must be so, oh, that's just tough and really disconcerting. Again, I would take time to craft, to have a conversation and be honest and lay it out in a very positive, professional way. An I message, right? Again, here's the story I'm sensing, and this is what I'm looking to do. So again, as hard as it is, it's taking the time to craft that and speak up for yourself because maybe they have no clue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. Get clarification from that person. Yeah, you're putting yourself out there, but it's a good thing to put yourself out there. So, yeah. So I want to thank you. I know you're about ready to close. I want to thank Collaborative WIM. I want to thank CFA Emirates and all of you for having me. It's been a real honor, and I could continue on for the rest of the afternoon. So I just wanted to say thank you before you close. So again, thank you all for being here, and thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. It's been a real treat, Megan. And I know that we've all taken something away from this, no matter what stage we are at in our careers. I really feel that there was something applicable for everyone. So we appreciate you and your partnership with the Collaborative WIM. And thank you everyone for coming today. I'm going to turn it over to Christine to say a few words, and we'll hopefully see you again soon.
Thanks, Ariel. Thank you so much, Megan, for a refreshingly honest and interactive conversation, and for such thoughtful and thought-provoking exercises and actionable takeaways today. I'm Christine Tinker, a Senior Equity Portfolio Manager at Northern Trust Asset Management in Chicago, and recent co-chair of the CFA Society Chicago Women's Network. On behalf of the other co-founders of Collaborative WIM, we thank Megan, our hosts at CFA Society Emirates, our sponsors, and all of you for joining us today and for taking this journey with us. We also want to give special thanks to our CWIM advisors and CWIM ambassadors, who we proudly feature on our website at collaborativewim.org/advisors/ambassadors. Please check them out. And if you haven't yet, follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our CWIM newsletter for all the latest announcements from friends and allies all over the globe. So hopefully everyone enjoyed making some new connections and talking through this important topic of effectively managing our careers. Please feel free to send us your feedback and any ideas you might have for Collaborative WIM. We're so happy you joined us today, and stay in touch. Thank you.